With that, we'll bring our guest onto the show. I've got Rick Rupp on the program. Rick is he spent his career over 30 years as an author, as a speaker, doing marriage counseling with real people. And I just have the good fortune to meet people from all over the country, and so I thought he'd be a good guest to bring on to the show. Rick Rupp, welcome to Sound Retirement Radio.
Thank you, Jason. It's really a privilege to be with you guys today.
Oh, I'm glad to have you for a number of reasons. One of the reasons I wanted to do this show is because there have been some headlines recently in the news that talk about one divorce attorney in China said that after the quarantine, their caseload increased by 25%. There have been some articles recently about domestic violence on the rise as a result of people being home together. And then one thing that I don't know that a lot of people realize, but there's been a significant uptick in the number of people who are retired baby boomers who are getting divorced. And so that number has been increasing. And one of the things I think about is, everybody's so excited about getting into retirement. And then sometimes the reality of spending more time with your spouse is not necessarily what people thought it was going to be. And I think that's one reason we get here. But Rick, you've spent your career helping people navigate marriage. What are some of the things that you find by working with folks? Actually, before I get into my questions, tell us a little bit more about your background. Give us a little bit of your bio.
Oh, sure, Jason. Well, like I think you said, I've been in private practice my whole career, helping couples and individuals to have better relationships and more successful lives with one another. Recently, of course, I'm seeing all of my clients on video and phone and chats, which is also allows me to do coaching with clients all over the country. So I'm thankful for technology. Let me say that people can still get help today.
Yeah, me too.
By through phone and video, right? So, but I just try to make a difference in people's lives. I've written books on helping men to have more healthy sexual lives in their marriages, on raising boys into men of character, and recently some workbooks that I wrote for married couples and engaged couples.
I love that. Yeah, and you sent me one of those blueprints for a loving and lasting marriage, which we'll talk a little bit more as we go too. But really, some great stuff. Let's start out talking about this pandemic, the coronavirus. Many physicians and nurses are suffering from post-traumatic stress, anxiety, and depression. Millions of people have lost their jobs, and couples are cooped up at home and sometimes experiencing stress up to the limit. As a marriage therapist, what are you hearing in your clients' lives?
Jason, people are on edge. No surprise. I'm not saying anything that's a real surprise, but, for instance, my clients that are doctors and nurses, they're traumatized. A recent session that I had with a nurse was saying how her ICU was just so full of sick patients that the nurses had never seen people so sick and so fast. And of course, she's scared to death herself of getting the virus, and because they don't have enough safety equipment and they're reusing their masks. And so, Jason, this isn't, I guess, all that often. But by the end of our hour together, I noticed something just about myself. I don't think she could tell because it was on a video chat, but I was shaking myself. So, it's just to say, these are uncommon times that we're going through, and I'm quite mindful that it varies. There's such a gamut, a spectrum of people that are on the front lines like her, And then people at the other end of the spectrum that are not experiencing traumas, anything like that, but it is shaking. It's shaking a lot of people up, and I got to say, just this morning when I watched the news, they said another 1,000 people died yesterday. So we're all affected by this pandemic in emotional ways and so many other ways. So what I thought I would do is just talk about some basic symptoms that people are experiencing, and then I want to talk about helpful ways to take care of ourselves.
That would be awesome. Yeah. So what are some of the symptoms of stress, unusual amounts of stress, stress, unhealthy stress? I think we all experience stress, but when does it become unhealthy?
Yeah. So I'll share three in particular that people are just experiencing lately. Of course, first responders would have the worst of these, but post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, and generalized anxiety. So I'm going to just go through the symptoms real briefly and see if you identify with any of these symptoms. And if the listeners, you, me, who don't identify with any of these, something is very odd with you. So, these symptoms are pretty normal and human reactions to abnormal times. So post-traumatic stress symptoms include intrusive thoughts, ruminations, bad dreams, nightmares, negative thoughts and moods, hopelessness about the future, lack of positive emotions. And physically, PTSD has arousal symptoms in our bodies, like being jumpy, on guard for danger, having self-destructive behavior, like drinking too much, trouble sleeping, trouble concentrating, being irritable, having angry outbursts. Depression has some similar symptoms, and 50% of first responders right now are reporting all of these symptoms of depression. They would have also had these post-traumatic stress symptoms as well, but these symptoms include sadness, tearfulness, hopelessness, irritability, sleep problems, feelings of worthlessness, fixating on past failures and self-blame, trouble thinking, remembering things, thoughts of death or suicidal thoughts, even unexplained physical problems like back pain or headaches. And lastly, I'm just going to go through some symptoms of anxiety. Feeling nervous, having a sense of impending danger, panic or doom. And then we have increased heart rate, rapid breathing, hyperventilating, trembling, trouble sleeping, and gastrointestinal GI problems. So I don't know about you, Jason, but I don't know if you want to identify any of those yourselves, but I certainly can.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I was sharing. I had this really strange nightmare the other night, and I don't usually have nightmares, but just this strange. I'll share it with you. Is that I was entering a room and somebody was leaving the room, and they were wearing a long coat, and you couldn't really see their face. It was just this sense of unsettling, being unsettled, uneasy about this person kind of leaving a room. It was just a weird dream. It was nothing to be afraid of, but it did. When I woke up, I felt that sense of that's kind of a weird nightmare. But yeah, so we're all experiencing this anxiety and stress and maybe depression.
You had the same dream that I had.
Similar dream?
I had the same dream.
Did you really?
I was in a crowded restaurant. This guy came up to me and said he tested positive for the coronavirus, and then I realized, oh my gosh, now I could infect my own family. So, the same night, my wife dreamed that she's a nurse practitioner. She was swabbing a patient's mouth, and the patient died on her. So, nightmares like that pretty common these days.